there's nothing left for me to hate, so I can lay me down, my brothers, on the ground. I bled today until Coyote comes to raise me up and carries me
Scottish Rugby blog. We are Patreon only exclusive this week because if Irish and South African people want to bask in my misery, they can at least fucking pay for it. I am Jonny McGinty. This is our last sort of regular podcast of the season because Glasgow's season unfortunately finished at the weekend, so we will do our big season review next week. But before then, we'll have a look at this week's news. We'll dive into what went wrong at Hampden on Murrayfield on Saturday afternoon. I'm Football World Cup mode already. And to join me to do that is Leslie Ramage. Hello, Leslie. How are you?
Hello, Jonny. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very good. And then also joining us to sit silently for the first 10 minutes and reflect on making us late, it's Alan McDonald. How are you, Alan?
Hi, Jonny. Despite your cruelty, I'm very well. And as you know, this pod is my first, my last, my everything.
We'll dive straight into some of the news that we've got this week because there's a fair bit to get through. First of all, if we're going to do this, we are doing this my way. The squad for the summer friendlies is out. The Nations Championship is stupid. The strength of this squad is stupid. The timing and scheduling of the games is stupid. And the fact that we're even indulging this nonsense as a valid competition is stupid. Would anybody like to disagree with that?
We're playing South Africa in South Africa, and we're actually playing the best teams away from home. At least we're not, I mean, I know we're playing Fiji, but at least we're not playing the USA and Bolivia, which has been the strength, been the sort of level of our summer tours before. So you are wrong, Jonny, and you can sit there in your wrongness.
I'm absolutely not wrong, Leslie. I know what you're going to. All right. Well, do you know what? If you two are going to be like this, before we move on to talk about the squad, I'll give each of you 30 seconds to come up with one benefit to pretending that the summer tours are valuable games that we should be treated seriously. Leslie.
There are only so many games, international games, until the World Cup next year, so it's valuable time for the team together.
Alan?
That's all I'll give you.
Learning to perform in the tour environment will be valuable experience for the World Cup, and playing the best teams at their home will be learning something. We play far too many games against tier 2 nations. It's like playing FIFA on beginner mode.
What a load of shite. There's not one person, and we'll talk about sport in a second. There's not one person that needs to learn how to operate in a tour environment in that Scotland squad. The whole point of the summer tours for the last 25 years has been... We'll come back to him, because we have a discussion to have about him. For the last 25 years, the whole point of the summer tours has been to give players who need to learn how to operate in a tour environment and who need exposure to international rugby and who need to be brought into the international setup the chance to do that, while players that have been flogged for the last 9 months get the summer off to relax. And I'm not having this fucking agenda that World Rugby are pushing that we have to have like constant high level competition, because we don't. What we need is these players to get a fucking break. So motion denied. The Scotland squad is out. Leslie,
Yes.
we have different opinions on whether this is how they should be doing it or not, but exclusion of Grant Gilchrist and Blair Kinghorn aside, it's probably the strongest Scotland squad fit and available at the moment.
Yeah. There's a couple of the bodies out with niggly injuries and things, but there's, as usual, more Glasgow players in Edinburgh, which is becoming the norm, which is saddens me. But yes, it probably is the strongest team or squad rather, that we could put together. No real complaints. Don't really think there's anybody missing that's, as you say, is either being rested or injured that has missed out, that you could think, oh, they maybe should have made it. But I have no complaints.
I think it's quite rare, to be fair, although it's been a little bit better in recent years, to have a Scotland squad come out and have no complaints about it, because normally we would have got a couple of tombola spins, which suggests that inexplicably the coaching staff are taking this seriously once Tooney gets back from his Football World Cup trip, obviously. Allan, I'd love to say that one of my main concerns about this, I have nothing but concerns about this whole fucking Omni shambles. But one of the main ones is finished a season, a very long season, with a Lions tour the season before that. Glasgow players, like Leslie says, 19 of them in the squad who just finished playing on Saturday. South Africa and Argentina are not fucking close together. For Scotland to be travelling to both of them individually and then coming back up to play against Fiji, that's a lot of miles at this point in the season. And I think not just me, but I think a lot of people who are concerned about the way that we're going about this Nations Championship is it unnecessary travel and unnecessary stress for the players?
Look, I think that's a fair point. The benefit of a tour was they were roughly in the same place. As you say, Argentina and South Africa famously are not. So yeah, I think there's a definite argument there. And will it actually just increase stress on players? I think it must. I don't have an easy answer to that one. I think it probably, joking aside about getting to play the best teams at home, and I think that's a reasonable point, but the stress on players and having the amount of travel is not inconsiderable. And that's a problem.
It is, and to be fair, like you say, I don't really know what the solution to it is. If this is going to be a long-term thing, I assume that it's something that will need to be addressed. I think we need to have one of these and we need to see how everyone treats it. I think the big one will be what France's squad looks like. France's squad for a summer tour traditionally is the bin juicest of the bin juice. So what sort of squad they assemble for this, I think, will be interesting to see. I'll let you both have a crack at it, since you are obviously noticeably much keener on the entire concept than me. For these first 3 rounds, this kind of summer leg of it, Leslie first and then you, Allan, what are your hopes for Scotland? What do you think they should be aiming to get out of this first block?
Well, they've not been together since the Six Nations, have they? Well, the Glasgow players have, but they've not been with their XL pals. I think it's just getting back into the saddle, isn't it? I genuinely don't see a win against South Africa in South Africa, much as we would love it. I don't see it. Argentina, I guess, you a bit more of a chance maybe. And Fiji, play the fringe guys at home. Give your main guys a rest if you can. I don't, like Alan said, I'm not a massive fan of the travel. It's good, yes, we're getting to play, better teams, but it is at the expense of players getting time off, and now having to play an even longer season. You were speaking about France there. It's already been rumoured that Jalibert and LBB are not going to travel. So it probably will be Binges. Toulouse have made the finals, so you're unlikely to see any of them. They make up the bulk of the French team, so yeah, I don't know. Time together, back in the saddle, trying. There's not enough fringe players, I don't think, to really, or enough newbies that they're going to get valuable time with the rest of the guys. It's not like this is a half development side or anything. So yeah, time together, back in the saddle, and hope for some wins, and yeah, see how we go. But yeah, like you said, I'm not loving the idea of all this travel.
No, and another one of my sort of main concerns about it, and again, I have nothing but concerns, is I'm not really sure when fringe players are meant to join the Scotland setup now. Like guys who previously we would have said, it'd be nice to get a look at them, get them in for the summer, see how they get on in the Scotland environment. If they continue to do well in the URC, then maybe we get them in the Ultimate Internationals, and then 9 months down the line they're in the Six Nations. If we're taking our full frontline squad for all of these summer games for whatever fucking reason we're indulging this, then when do fringe players start to get a chance? And my main concern, as I think a lot of people's is for tier 2 teams who have just been basically completely fucking shafted by this entire setup. So do we start looking at Scotland A playing the teams that we used to go on tour to, and do we bring players through that way? I think it's really difficult. Alan, do you have any advance on a chance for the boys to look at spreadsheets?
I think your answer question, when do we bring players in to the squad? I think the answer is quite simple. It's the Wales game. That's when we do it. No, yeah, after we nearly came a cropper against Wales this time, I think I probably shouldn't be quite so smug. No, it is a fair point, and I think the point about tier 2 nations, yeah, this is sort of like the top tier plus the top of the rest shutting up shop, isn't it? It's really not terribly good. I think what we're looking for this summer is a win against Argentina, a win against Fiji, and a performance against South Africa, like something that shows that we might actually have a way of beating teams that absolutely hammer you up front, and try and deny you ball, which we might come on to later on as well, I think, as we speak about the weekend. Hashtag spoilers. But yeah, okay. So I think that's what we're looking for.
Right, we will leave the smouldering bin fire of the Nations Championship announcement. We have got big news. We kind of spoke a little bit about it last week, how when the PWR teams had announced their leavers, a lot of the Scottish and Welsh players were involved, and how that sort of related to the new Scotland Central contract. Leslie, since yesterday, Rachel Phillips, Ellis Martin, Emily Kubra, Corinne Grant, Leah Brebner Holden, and Chloe Rowley have all signed for Edinburgh. Evie Wills, Lucia Scott, Anne Young, Fee McIntosh, and Becky Boyd have signed for Glasgow, and Gemma Bell has been made a full-time member of the Glasgow squad. It's going to make a big difference for Glasgow and Edinburgh in the Celtic Challenge next year.
Yeah, massively so. They have really struggled. I don't know if you guys have watched much, but I watched most of the games. and it's been a tough old slog. They've had a couple of wins, but nothing of any significance. They absolutely hammered by the Irish teams. So yes, this is a good thing for the Celtic Challenge. It's a good thing that they should be more competitive. You would expect them to start getting wins, especially against the Welsh teams. Sorry, Wales, but yeah, it makes the league more competitive, which is a good thing. And I only hope that it is something that the girls are on board with, and this is not them being strong-armed into a decision that they may have not wanted to make. That's my only concern. But yes, in terms of league, it's great. Plus, you get then the, I don't want to say star power, but you get the, people might be more willing to go and see Chloe Rowley play now that there's people in the team that they've maybe heard of that are in the national team, which is a good thing as well. You want bums on seats. So I'm all for it, but I just hope it's being done in the right way.
Yeah, Allan, that is almost exactly what I was going to ask you. We spoke a little bit last week while you were away about what this means for the women in the national team, how positive of a move it is for them, with everybody or so many players having to come back or wanting to come back. The atmosphere, obviously, in Scotland and the Hive is going to change for the women's teams now. Like Leslie says, there's a lot more star power involved. Do you think it is a net positive for the players?
I think there's a lot to be said for being back and playing under your own home nation and the teams there. There is a lot of people having their life disrupted to achieve that, though, and that does have to be a worry. But Edinburgh, Glasgow, pretty vibrant cities, plenty to do. They're not bad places to live if you like that sort of thing. And there's plenty, if you want somewhere in the country, there's plenty of places within easy commuting distance for both of them. So I'm hoping that most of the players will be able to make their peace with it. And also, Jonny, does this mean that with all the news, that is Ellie Kildunn going to play for Scotland? I got confused a little bit because she got released around about the same time. And that would be great. I didn't realise.
Again, if Ellie Kildunn plays for them.
She's a good player. I just didn't realise she had any Scottish heritage.
We had a conversation about this, me and a group of friends the other week, or the end of last week. And it's very much like a two things can be true situation. I have long suspected that Ellie Kildunn is an arsehole. I don't think Harlequins handled it terribly well. I think it was a pretty shitty way of treating someone who has been a star player and a big attraction for them and for England for quite a long time. At the same time, the stories about her behaviour at Quins that kind of came out as they were trying to justify it, I suspect that there's not a wailing line of Quins players begging them to reconsider the fact that they're not going to give her a new contract. I think Quins handled that terribly, but she might still be an arsehole, is basically my takeaway on that one.
Yeah, although I think blaming... sorry.
We're not going to... I don't want to even have a conversation about this. I just want to state it, get it out there, because it is something that happened this week. I don't think it's worthy of any airtime or anyone's discussion. The president of Alloa has been banned for a year for his full bingo card of racist, sexist and misogynistic jokes with heavy scare quotes at Musselburgh's end of season do. Good. Could have been longer, but we'll take a year. I think that kind of sews up the news for us. That was the sort of last thing that I guess we have to really cover. So let's go on with it. We've been joined by Mark Riley as well, just in time for the miserable bit. Saturday afternoon,
folks.
Glasgow 21, Bulls 22. Allan, it's depressing that we could just say the phrase Glasgow, Scotland did it a little bit on Saturday afternoon and everybody knows what we're talking about. but Glasgow, Scotland did it a bit on Saturday, didn't they?
Yeah, I think the Bulls denied them ball. And after a very good second half, where they sort of really sort of messed up the Bulls' midfield defence and put people through, then the Bulls just really snapped to it in the second half, denied them ball, and it felt a little bit like Glasgow panicked and started to force it. And then you start seeing the knock-ons, you start seeing the turnovers, you start seeing, and I felt there was maybe a little bit of a lack of composure.
Yeah, and I think, Leslie, one of the real big problems for Glasgow was there didn't seem to be too much adjustment on the fly in the second half. Bulls came out after half time, clearly had Glasgow's number on everything that they'd done well in the first half, and it was different.
You have broken up, Jonny, so I didn't catch the last bit of what you said. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Basically, I said Glasgow are rancid to adjust it to what's in front of them. When the Bulls had them bang to rights in the second half, they just kept doing the same thing, which I'm sure there's a famous phrase about the definition of something.
Well, it's also very much don't back down, double down, isn't it? I've only watched the highlights. I didn't actually watch the game live, and when I saw the score, I had no real desire to watch it back. But from what I've seen, yes, you're also asking a lot of, especially Jamie Dobie, who has been out injured for so long, to run a game when he hasn't even played scrum half particularly much, and to make him then go 70 odd minutes, it's a lot. And yeah, I think they missed a little bit of. I know Franco likes to play a certain way, but sometimes that just doesn't work, and you need a plan B. And from what I saw in the highlights, as you say, they just didn't do anything different, and that's probably something to work on for next season. Is that if things aren't going your way, you need to try something else. I have to say I was kind of a bit disappointed in them. I kind of expected more. Like, the Glasgow have been so good all year, and it's just a bit disappointing to see him going out like that.
Yeah. Mark, Leslie kind of touched on it there. Do we have to accept, do you think, that Glasgow's squad depth maybe isn't all that we kind of believed it was this season? And actually, we spoke after the Toulon game about the pressure of missing Gregor Brown, of missing George Horn for those couple of games. Now we're obviously missing George Horn again this weekend, and Jamie Dobie being forced to play 70 minutes, like Leslie said, in a position he's not played in for ages. Is it that we thought that Glasgow had the depth and they don't?
I think that's part of it. I think I think Glasgow have their first 15 particularly, and their first 23 when all are fit is good enough to take on anybody. But you take out a couple of large cogs in that particular machine that gives you problems, and I think that was exposed. It seems a blasé thing to say, but I think if George Horn plays last weekend, we win that. Glasgow win that match. Or if Jamie Dobie had been fit and had played more at scrum half the last 4 months, then we stand a far better chance. So yeah, I think it's squad depth, right? You keep everybody fit, fabulous. But Leslie absolutely hit the nail on the head that we put pressure on players like Dobie, as you say, 70 minutes when he hasn't started. He hasn't played for 4 months and hasn't started at scrum half for 6 months, or has he started at all this season? I don't know. I haven't looked it up. And then expect him to command a game of that magnitude? Yeah. Depth is a real problem for the Scottish teams at the moment.
Yeah. Alan, we all spoke a little bit last week about being quite impressed with Glasgow's ref management in the quarterfinal against Connacht. Got a decent ride from Andrew Brace for the first little while, and then when Andrew Brace Breakdown Cowboy made an appearance, unfortunately, unlike the quarterfinal week, Glasgow did not seem to adjust to that at all, and that's an area where I think they maybe got on the wrong side of him a little bit. And Hondry Pollard, never in a million years would you give Hondry Pollard 3 chances to extend your lead and expect him not to take any of them. But that was an area I think where Glasgow were noticeably weaker than they were in the quarters.
Yeah, I think some of that might have been the pressure they were under, though. I think there's an element the infringing came because I think the infringing came because of the pressure and the relentlessness of the Bulls, I think, is fair to say. But it was pretty grim to watch. And I think another podcast talked about the Bowl of the Juniors and oh no, not again. And definitely that was very much how I was feeling on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure everyone else was as well.
Yeah. Mark, a lot has been made of Glasgow's strike moves in the backs. One in particular that they used to score 2 tries against Connacht. They used it again to score a try in the first half on Saturday. And then the Bulls clearly worked it out. And they ran it 2 or 3 more times and just got it absolutely snuffled. Is a lack of variety an issue? Or is it a case of like it works almost every time, so we'll just keep doing it?
Well, it worked for nigh on a decade with the Sexton loop, right? They clearly, I mean, the Bulls, like any professional team, they've done a ton of homework. And it would have possibly been useful to keep something up the sleeve. And it did seem that Glasgow were trying the same thing, keep trying the same thing and expect a different response, which apparently Einstein never said. But it's I think where Glasgow win, I mean, the first phase strike plays Glasgow are fantastic at, but for me it was where Glasgow are fantastic is that when they don't work, they really have a cohesiveness in open play. When play breaks up, the passes stick, people know what's going on, everybody's playing the same game. And I think I felt at the weekend that was where it wasn't working because passes weren't sticking, mistakes were happening, etc., etc. And that may have been fatigue, it may have been that the Bulls had their number or whatever, but
Leslie, I think the last thing we kind of need to discuss on the game at the weekend, there was obviously a lot of excitement in Edinburgh when the Hive got built a few years ago because Edinburgh had their problems playing at Murrayfield. Now, 18,000 people there on Saturday afternoon is nearly twice as many as you would have had at Scotstoun, but it's just over a quarter of Murrayfield. Now, the atmosphere, I thought, in places was pretty good, but it's a big stadium to fill. When we got into the position of the Bulls being a point up and Glasgow having 15 minutes and needing the crowd behind them, the crowd is much further away and much more spread out at Murrayfield. And a lot of the Edinburgh players, they talked about really enjoying the move to a smaller stadium when the Hive was built. Do you think there is a factor of, despite the fact that Glasgow were at home, they didn't feel at home and they didn't have the crowd on top of the players the way they would have expected at Scotstoun?
Yes and no. Most of those guys are in part of the national team. They would have played there, okay, as you say, not the same crowd, but they played there often enough that it should be familiar. For me, I think the weight of expectation was probably more of a factor. I don't think Glasgow and Scotland, to an extent as well, deal with being favourites or expecting them to win. Even if the bookies had Wales as favourites, they were still at home with home advantage and expected to do better. And I just don't think that they deal with that pressure particularly well. And yes, they got off to a great start and they got 3 tries, but 2 of those came when the Bills were down to a yellow with a yellow card, and did very little after that, as much as I hate to say it. And yeah, I think the weight of expectation probably factors more than the mental expectation factors more than the where it was being played. You think about when Glasgow won it, they won it as underdogs going to South Africa. There was no expectation on them to win. And now they were at home with a majority Scottish crowd, and they've already beaten the Bulls 2 or 3 times this year already. They were expected probably to win. And I just don't think that sits well with Scottish teams.
Yeah.
Well, that is that for URC season 25-26. We will come back for a big season review for men's and women's club teams and national teams next week. For just now, we're done with Glasgow, sadly. We've got a little bit of regular business to take care of. We will start, as we usually do, with this one. I've got fucking plenty, as you might imagine. We'll go around you guys first. Alan, what's in its hands in your ruck this week?
Do you know what? I think I'm going to give up my time to let you have my spot, Jonny. So because I think anything I'm going to say, you're already got your piss in a rolling boil about. So I will chip in.
Is that your way of saying
yours.
me and you were going to say the same thing?
Yes, yeah, and I think you're going to do it better because you're better at being angry than I am. So let's do that.
Mark?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I kind of agree with Alan. The only thing that I did have as a slight annoyance was Glasgow fans actually being most Glasgow fans, like we are unhappy and disappointed. Some Glasgow fans have been slightly annoyed. And all I want to say was, come on, get a grip. 4 teams make the semi-finals. 12 don't. 8 don't even make the playoffs. Get a grip, to be fair.
Yep. Leslie?
Old Irish writers and their refereeing columns.
Oh. They fucking won. They won the game. What's his fucking problem?
Why are you bitching and moaning about Holly, who had a perfectly good game? She got most things right. Why are you moaning and complaining? Fuck off into the sun. I'm sick of you.
Yeah.
I'm sick of old, boring male writers. Get in the sea.
It's honestly the soft target and playing to your fucking anally retentive, misogynistic readership.
The one thing that you might have said, I might have done that differently, was the yellow for the Stormers player kicking the ball through the ruck. And if you're a fucking Leinster journalist, why are you complaining about that? Shut the fuck up. On a similar note, before we really go for it, the SRU did a really good job of, and I don't fucking say that often, of moving heaven and earth to make sure that Murrayfield was going to be available for the final if Glasgow had beaten the Bulls, right? By all accounts, it was an extremely difficult thing to do. But they managed to do it because they wanted Glasgow to have that stadium available to them on the date and time that the URC had decided the URC final was going to be, right? If I'd known that being fucking daddy's favourites in the upstairs office means you could just change the date and time of the final to get your fucking stadium available, we could have just done that. And they did it before they'd even fucking won. They were like, oh, by the way, if we win, the finals will be on Friday night because we want to play at Croke Park and we can't have Croke Park on the Saturday. It's fucking like proper Trump levels of barefaced collusion. And I don't know how they keep getting away with it. It's fucking outrageous. That's my first thing. My second thing. If you are someone who spends their entire life preaching hashtag rugby family bullshit, and within minutes, and I mean minutes, of Glasgow losing a URC semi-final, you're all over the fucking internet crowing and whooping and hollering and fucking getting in the comments of South African fans to try and jump on their coattails and join in their celebration and giving it the fucking big one about, way Glasgow fucked it, that's hilarious. Franco failed his audition at Murrayfield. You've had the big opportunity, you shafted it, you're not all you're made out to be. Edinburgh's fucking basically South African. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Do any South Africans want to be my friend? You look like a fucking dickhead. I'm sorry, but you do. That's as simple as I can possibly make it. And thinking to that group's level, you were fucking 12th, right? I'll take a little bit of that from Leinster because we've given out a little bit to Leinster this season. We were in the semi-finals, and yeah, we lost the semi-final, and yeah, we're all disappointed. You were 12th, so fucking wind it down. Fucking wind your fucking neck in. Because when you are competent, then you can come and have a pop at us. But at the moment, you're sort of fucking do. So wind it
down. Up in my hands in the ruck for this was the somehow saying that talking about where the final would be played would be arrogant, and you're like, what? Hang on a minute. A final is a massive logistical undertaking that the league will need to have assurances about. Of course, they need to work out where the bloody final is going to be if they're fucking in it. I mean, it's fucking logistics. It's not arrogance. And in fact, when any of the squad were asked about it, and Franco, it was all very much, well, we've got this game, we've got Connacht to get through, we've got the Bulls to play. You know, they were very much, we've got the next game, we'll leave that to the Union. So, fuck up. I mean,
it was the number of them that were like, the number of them that were replying to fucking Bulls fans on social media, be like, yeah, well done, really pleased for you, fucking glad you stuck it to them. Get fucked, man.
And look, folk can support how they like.
No, did you not get the memo that it's everyone against the South Africans? Because it's been like that for quite a long time. Up at the top end of the table where we care about winning championships, it's all of us against the South Africans.
Until the final, in which case it's all of us against Leinster.
Yeah.
We'll give them a pass this week.
But so I find myself in a very particular position here because I'm a Reivers fan. I'm from the south. So does that mean the Reivers being defunct, I shouldn't support a Scottish team? Or I should look forward to a team beating Edinburgh and or Glasgow? It's fucking outrageous to have. I mean, I'm quite open about the fact I'm ambidextrous about the Scottish teams. I have a slight issue when Glasgow come to play Edinburgh, but generally I end up supporting Glasgow because they're the ones that give me a love of professional rugby, whereas Edinburgh have basically underperformed for as long as I can possibly remember. But for a Scottish rugby fan, I can totally understand that you might say, nah, I'm not supporting Glasgow. I get that. You know, they're competition, apparently. So we're going to do that. But to say I'm then going to support the fucking Pretoria Bulls against Glasgow is mind-blowing to me. What the fuck? Does that mean when 14 Glasgow players plus, I don't know, Freddie Douglas run out against South Africa next week, you're going to support South Africa? Good for you. Well done. Don't darken my fucking door.
People can support how they want to support, and I'm not going to clutch my pearls over it. But what you can't do is spout rugby values and rugby's just different stuff when that is absolutely redolent of the toxicity of the old firm and is the same as every kind of Ponzi, kind of nasty sporting clash. If that's how you want to do it, knock yourself out. I'll support Edinburgh when they do something worth supporting. Sorry, that went a bit bad at the end. My apologies. But
No,
actually, the intention was good.
Perfectly legit. If the semi-final had included Edinburgh and not Glasgow, I would have been supporting Edinburgh.
Yep,
and I'm a Rangers fan.
I would still have
Because I
gone.
want
And there was
Scottish
loads of
rugby
people.
to do
There was
well.
loads of people there on Saturday in their Edinburgh stash, and like fucking
Yeah.
fair play to them. And I went when Edinburgh played Munster in a Champions Cup quarter final at Murrayfield, and we went to that to cheer on Edinburgh. I mean, to cheer against Munster, but also to cheer on Edinburgh. And
I hate to.
I don't know. Do you know what? Do you know what the difference is, right? When we don't have a pod to do that week, I genuinely don't think about Edinburgh. Like, I'll check their score and I'll be like, all right, yeah, that's good. Keeps them in the top 8, whatever. Genuinely don't care about them. In the words of whatever teen movie it's from, why are you so obsessed with me? Like, why do you care that much about Glasgow losing? I don't care that much about Edinburgh losing.
And yet I take the middle ground, and I will avidly follow both games and both scores, which is why I can't get my head around somebody. You know, like you say, Johnny, you don't pay any attention to Edinburgh, and why would you? But if if the situations were reversed and Edinburgh made the semis and Glasgow were in, what was it, 14th, 10th, 12th, something like that, you would probably pay attention to Edinburgh because you're a Scottish rugby fan.
Yeah.
You might not support Edinburgh, but you sure as shit, I would hope, wouldn't support the Bulls.
It's I don't know. Like there was a fair bit of it going around before the game on all the Scottish rugby Facebook groups. I'll be fair to Edinburgh fans. There was a quite small but very vocal amount of Edinburgh fans after the game, and I mean like immediately after the game. And the ones that really fucking wound me up were the ones that were like cozied into the South Africans.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, I'm so pleased for you.
Oh, I saw a picture
Edinburgh's
of
fucking
somebody
green and
with
yellow tonight. Pissed off.
I saw a picture of somebody with a South African / Edinburgh shirt somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the
Piss
fuck
off.
up?
What are you doing? Yeah. All right. I don't think we could be any more angry about that. And we really need a 50-22 jingle so we could like differentiate. But
Yes.
there must have been some good stuff this week. Leslie, we'll start with you for this one.
I have nothing, Johnny. It's been a week. I have nothing. I'm sorry.
Mark,
yeah, nothing.
Joey.
Nothing happening. Nothing good.
No, I actually
Shit week.
have a couple of things that amused me this week. The first thing being, and I have taken notes, but I've had a weird day, which is why I was late. I meant to look them up. But Scott Cummings' reaction on 25 minutes in the Glasgow game. It was around 25 minutes on playtime.
I've still not seen it properly. All I saw was a bit
It's
because
just,
we were there.
I
All I saw
will
was a bit.
track it down and I will clip it and I will post it. I haven't had the chance to do it yet. But he did the full on. He was about to go offside. It was one of those when, you know, second rows take a step and then realise. But it was his reaction to doing that. The hands went down and like he shuffled off with his hands at his side, and it was a full on "sorry, mum" response. It was hilarious. It really was really very comical. And the other one was a similar reaction. and it was Holly Davison's expression on. All I've got, the note I've taken is Holly's expression in 33 minutes. Now I remember, I will track down for what it was, but I think it was one of the players, I can't even remember from which side, coming up and challenging one of her decisions. And she was, as she usually is, erudite and polite in response. But the camera caught her turning around. She clearly had a "what the fuck" on her face. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. 2 moments that really gave me a smile this weekend. I will find them, I will clip them, I will throw them on our socials.
Yeah. Alan?
I suppose I was meant to be at work's day out when the Glasgow game was on. So with it looking very inevitable in the last 10 minutes, I suppose at least it let me get ready to go out with one eye in the game rather than fully watching it. And that is the best I've got, Jonny.
Did you do Pink Pony Club on karaoke?
It was Pride weekend. I felt that wasn't my place. I did Yes Sir I Can Boogie on karaoke.
That's, in many ways, that's even better because I don't believe you.
Oh, no, I have a video I can show you.
Oh, no, I'm not saying I don't believe you sang it.
That's all right, Alan.
I can't believe I'm saying this twice in one podcast. This is a sign of the apocalypse. The SRU did a really, really good job on Saturday afternoon. The family tickets clearly worked out really well because the crowds definitely tended quite young. A few of our eldest teammates were there, so I got to see some of the kids who I've been coaching this year that I might not see until the end of summer, so that was nice. They were fervent about the fact that I'd say everybody under 12 in the stadium on Saturday afternoon had at least one Glasgow flag in their hand. We've got 4 Glasgow flags in the boot of the car because we took 2 with us and they gave us 2 more. And every child that walked through the gates, someone ran up to them and gave them a flag. So that really helped with the atmosphere. I thought it made it a really nice place for the kids to go. They had the free face painting and everything on. It was a nice sort of family atmosphere. They did a really good job. The kids were all really well looked after. I thought to get 18,000 people there on a week's notice and make it that good of an atmosphere for bringing families and stuff was excellent work because, like we just spoke about earlier, logistically very difficult, especially when you don't know what's coming. So, yeah, I was very impressed. I thought we had a nice time until the last 10 minutes. I think most of the families around us had quite a nice time. So it was good. Good atmosphere, well done and well carried out. So, yeah, that was nice. I think.
Grand.
Oh, you got one, Mark?
Yeah, awesome. Only because I know it's old news and we didn't mention it last week because we were a bit rushed for time. But both the Van der Merwe's and the Schoemans becoming British citizens this week. Did you guys mention it earlier?
No, not yet. So there you go. And Duhan gets to celebrate by playing for the Barbarians. There you go. Contractual quick mention of the Barbarians.
Absolutely.
You're happy.
Yeah. So the fact that they have both couples have posted very proud statements on social media about becoming full-on British citizens. That's Duhan van der Merwe and his wife, and Per Schoeman and his wife. And I would just like to say I'm so glad that is sticking it to the mercenary South Africans only over here for the money crowd. And I'm very happy for the respective Schoemans and Van der Merwe's. Put on them. And they genuinely, from reading the statements, they genuinely seem incredibly pleased about it. And both of them spoke about what Scottish rugby has given to them. So great stuff. Well done, both of them.
Excellent stuff. All right, that is a nice way to leave it. So we will be back next week for a full, big-time season review, season autopsy, I suppose is probably more accurate, for all of our senior teams. But until then, it is goodbye from me and goodbye from Allan, Leslie, and Mark.
Goodbye.